What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Tuesday, I'm about to say September, October 3rd, 2023, and we are back for yet another impromptu live. I know I did one yesterday. I had no intentions of doing one today, just like yesterday, but I had heard something that, like I said, made me want to come on here and discuss this topic with you all today. This one probably won't go as fast as the one I did yesterday. The one I did yesterday, I was able to knock that out in about 30 minutes. And I also intentionally decided to have it at 5 p.m. today because I want to make sure I have as many people in here as possible, because I know this is probably around the time when everybody's getting off work. People are on their way home or whatever it is they're about to do. So they have enough time to wind down and listen to what I have to say as it pertains to this. But before I actually go ahead and get into it, let me acknowledge those who are in the chat. We have DeMarcus, Tracy, Kid Gravity, Detroit King, Southern Lady Brown, Cool Spider, Lop Trabia, DSB. I see this new member, but I think you've been a member and you probably just reactivated. Nisha 9, Trauma, Chris Rockshoe, Mod D, J.M. Fleming II, Denise, Hacksign KT, Surfactant, Key Print, Savion, Tawana, Donna, Dewani, Chosen One, Derry, Cosma Fury, Mike 4282, Vlad T, Legitimate Businessman, and Miss Renee. I'm glad that you are all here with me on this, I guess you could say, Tuesday evening. We are back yet again to discuss something or some things. So y'all see the thumbnail. Y'all see the thumbnail. Now, y'all know on my channel, I rarely tackle this issue. Like, this is something I like to steer clear of, but everything kind of happened all at one time that it's like, okay, either I'm going to talk about it in a live stream or I'm going to make a separate video. But I didn't feel like having to do all this editing, because this will be a heavily edited video. If what I'm going to talk about today at length was to be a pre-recorded video, it would have been way too much editing, and sometimes I get lazy. So I said, let me just go ahead and do it in a stream, because that's a lot easier, and then I have people watching in real time. So as you can see by the title, it says you get what you asked for. But I'm gonna be honest with you, Kid Gravity actually had a better title that he put in the chat earlier when he said eviction season is here. But I said, nah, I'm not going to take that from him. I'm going to let the title stick as it is with you get what you asked for. And shout out to J Cage for kicking off the super chat with the $5 B1 to the fan, B1 to you, and appreciate the contribution. So y'all, like I said, y'all see the title, and I have some people up there now. I'm sure all the people that y'all see in that picture, y'all are familiar with, but there are some people I'm going to talk about that are not in the picture because I not forgot to add them in, but they weren't in my mind at the time of me making the thumbnail. So it's going to be points where I'm going to acknowledge others, probably like 2 or maybe 3 additional people, including the ones that y'all do see. So as y'all know, there has been a string of reports coming out this week involving all the people you see in the thumbnail. And then it's going to be me talking about or going back to some stories that I wasn't able to talk about, and even bringing up a story that I did talk about a while ago. When I say a while ago, I'm talking about pre-pandemic. That's how a while ago it was. But I remember the story. Some of you may remember it as well. But I said I'm going to start off light with these stories because the stories start off light and then they get kind of dark. So I'm going to start off with the lightest story and then go to the darkest story. And some of you probably know what the dark story is, but we'll get there when we get there. But it's some people out here that they are flocking to the other side, and then finding out the grass is not always green on that side and it's kind of patchy. And they're finding out the hard way what it's really like over there. And like I said, it's crazy how all of this is just happening all at one time. It's not like it was something that's going on right here and then you have something that happened like next week. Like, you literally heard all about this stuff literally in the last couple of days within this weekend, where it's only Tuesday. But salute to everybody else who's coming in that I haven't acknowledged yet. Mr. Chris Alucard, 7944, DQ, Caldonia, Mark Stewart. What's going on? What's going on? We have 149 people in here. Make sure y'all go ahead and hit the like button. Again, this is not a topic that I frequently do on my channel. Y'all can go back and look through my entire channel. You will rarely see me do a video or a stream focused solely on what I'm about to talk about today. So consider this a rarity. Consider it a rarity. I have talked in passing about how I truly believe that the divestors don't have to simply just be the women. It can also be the men as well. And you'll hear two examples of that in this stream today. And we got our favorite troll up in here, Miguel Suarez, who's not here anymore, but I'm sure they'll probably try to pop back up under one of their many hundreds or thousands of troll accounts. So be on the lookout if you are a mod in this chat, because once I get started, it's going to be hard for me to really look at the chat like that. So the first person we're going to start off with, like I said, we're going to start off light with this, is K Michelle. K Michelle. For those of y'all who don't know who K Michelle is, she got her start on Love and Hip Hop, I believe the Atlanta season, back in like I want to say like 2011 or 2012, somewhere around that point. She was a personality, I guess you can say, on that show. She had released a couple of albums. She actually has a pretty decent singing voice, but she also has, in my opinion, some self-hate issues as well, because she got a lot of work done. And some of that work that she got done ended up affecting her health to the point where she had to go back under the knife to remove what she got put into her. And then she kind of like, you really don't really hear much about her now until this situation right here that we're going to go over from the Atlanta Black Star that was posted on October 1st, 2023, which of course, as we know, was 2 days ago. So it says right here, try it out. K Michelle sparks debate online after declaring her love for white men. And apparently, I think she must have put this in a song. Never heard the song, really don't care to hear it, but apparently it's in a song that she released. It says vocalist K Michelle is promoting the release of her new album, I'm the Problem, as she continues to unpack her bold and honest truth. Well, at least she's being bold and honest to acknowledge that she is the problem. I don't know how that could mean, because that could be that could mean a few things. It says she was most recently featured as a guest on Revolt TV's Black Girl Stuff, where she spoke about relationships and dating outside of her race, which sparked outrage online. So she talked about this in an interview and not in the song. Now, if y'all know K Michelle's history, or you've watched Love and Hip Hop, it's amazing how one will act, like, say for her instance, will act when she say maybe with a black man, and how she will most likely act and clean herself up or straighten up for PC, because that's what Eve did. Eve, she doesn't do her Rough Rider stuff anymore. I mean, not that I would expect her to do it even at her age now, even if she wasn't married to who she was married to. But notice how she completely cleaned her act up when she got with her husband, who we all know is a PC man. Remember, she was quoted as saying that this man tamed her. And I'm like, tamed you? I'm like, a human taming another human, so you consider yourself an animal now? But I'm just saying, pay attention to how many of them act or try to, straighten themselves out when it comes to PC individuals. And that goes for man or woman, but especially the women. During the interview, one of four hosts, Akila Friend, asks why she views herself as the problem, which K Michelle believes came from setting boundaries or saying no if it doesn't feel right. I'm going to be the problem because I'm going to be the solution for myself, the outspoken artist continued. You're not going to make me do nothing that that I'm going to have to deal with at home, and I dealt with that in reality TV. But when it comes to men and dating, the former Love and Hip Hop cast member said, relationships, I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. I'm sick of it. I am sick. I am not doing relationships at all. Another host, Brie Renee, then chimed in, reminding K Michelle that she said she would date a white man. Now, listen to that. She said she's not doing relationships, but one of the hosts of the show said, but wait a minute, you're quoted as saying you would date a white man. So which is it? So it sounds to me like when she says she's done with relationships, it sounds to me like she's done with relationships dealing with black men. And shout out to Black Voltron Reloaded for the $49.99 super chat. He says, good afternoon, and the Big B1 salute to you, bro. Torian Rain Reloaded, the moderators, the B1 certified family. All these poor divestors are taking big time losses, LOL, and I feel nothing too. I appreciate it, as I think most of us in this chat feel the same sentiments, which is absolutely nothing. It goes on to say, I love a white man, said Drake would love me, said the Drake would love me recording artist. I ain't never had a white man, Renee responded. Well, you need to try it out, the former Miss FAMU replied before going into a rant that ruffled more than a few feathers online. Let me tell you this, and people are going to be so angry with me in this sentiment, and I don't give an F. I will be your problem, K. Michelle said, slowly opening a Pandora's box. The R&B singer who has now grounded herself in country music. Huh? I didn't know she was doing country music. What a pivot. She went from R&B to country. Okay. She said, citizens, important to love who loves you. Let me tell y'all something right quick. When I hear her say love who loves you, that's why I keep telling y'all the female divestor and the male divestor literally are linked with each other, because I've heard a lot of male divestors say that same thing. Maybe not in that same context, but a lot of them will tend to say go to where you're appreciated or anything like that. But hers says love who loves you, regardless of race. It says she says she's spoken to a lot of black women who exclusively date within their race, despite how quote unquote how heartbroken they have become. She understands as a black woman herself, but she believes there are more eligible bachelors out of other races waiting to love up on a black woman. Key words there are waiting. K. Michelle, do you think they're honestly waiting? Do you honestly think that they are waiting to love up on you? Maybe to lust up on you, and even then they're still not waiting, because for them you might come a dime a dozen. But this is what she's telling herself. And shout out to everybody that's in here. Again, if you haven't done so already, be sure to hit the like button. I would appreciate it. I just think women, black women, just people, you have to date what your soul meets, she added. K. Michelle's remarks did not go over well with social media users who blasted her in the comments after Revolt posted a clip from the interview on Instagram. Is she trying to say that white men don't cheat or won't break your heart? I understand the love who loves you part, but how does the only white men part fit? And might I add to y'all, most of the people that came at K. Michelle for saying this were other black women. I just have to preface that for y'all. It was probably some black men in there, but it was mainly black women that were coming at her for those comments. So these quotes that I'm reading are coming from other black women. Someone else said, I will just have to die alone because I only love black men. Another person said, it's not that easy. I'm attracted to black men. I'm attracted to only men. If you get it, you get it. Someone else says, don't fold, keep black love alive. Some people understood where she was coming from, and these are the ones who was in agreement. Someone says, I'm adopting this love who loves you. Hell, I was open to everything else. Another person says, I've been saying this, you gotta love who loves you. And this is not the first time that K Michelle has caused an uproar after expressing her love for white men. In 2015, she declared, "I love rock country men who wear tight jeans and have foreign accents. I love me a handsome Caucasian man. I'm really not into black men right now. They can date outside their race, and so can I." Now, she said this back in 2015. This is now 2023. It looks to me like her stance really hasn't changed, and she has literally broken down her type within the demographic. She said, "I love rock country men." Now, keep in mind in the article, it says that she's now doing country music. So now this is her way of campaigning to get that white man. She said, "You know what? I can't get one just doing strictly R&B and the music that I was doing. So let me go ahead and knock this country music out and see if I can get in there." She says, "I love rock country men who wear tight jeans and have foreign accents." So she wouldn't mind being with a PC man who's from across the border, from across the water, as I like to call it, across the ponders. Or, yeah, she said foreign accent. I was about to say something that made no sense. So she doesn't mind dealing with that. She says she loves her a handsome Caucasian man. She's not really into black men right now, and it sounds like to me she's still not. And again, like I said, this was from 2015. You're talking 8 years ago when she posted this. Fast forward to 2021, after a man was caught lusting after the Can't Raise a Man singer, one person tweeted that K Michelle tweet doesn't do you any favors, especially given she dissed black men for white males a few years back, which is cool since majority of rappers said her, "you know what, stank." Now, I remember this. I remember when this went out, and it went, it's crazy because that post went viral. I think it even trended on Twitter. It says, "While many people are focusing on race, K Michelle has had a history of just male bashing. During a 2019 interview with Atlanta radio station's V103's The Morning Culture, she discussed her toxic and physically abusive relationship with her former producer, Mickey Memphis Wright. She's spoken about their relationship previously on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, but while speaking with the radio host, she made a blanket statement that many believe paints her feelings about the opposite sex across the board. 'I don't think men are good people,' she said. The reason for that is like for men to do things they consider small in the flesh of like cheating, you know, that's going to destroy your partner, but you do it anyway. That's not a mistake. We watch the same story over and over again. Despite the backlash she received, K Michelle always stays 10 toes down on anything that she says." So she's basing what was going on in a previous relationship with a black man, because her ex is a black man. Hold on, y'all. I told you that Roberto Suarez will be back. But despite her being with a black man, she literally did the whole blanket statement thing where if one black man, like, you know, hurts her in any form of way, then that's a statement that all black men are the same. But that goes back to the comment that someone left right here where it says, "Is she trying to say that white men don't cheat or won't break your heart?" Which tells me that, and also when, remember, she said she's not open to relationships right now, but she's declaring her love for white men. It's a lot of layers to this thing. The thing is, I probably could have read this thing backwards and still got the gist of what I was just reading. Now, as far as I know, K Michelle is not in a relationship at the moment. But what she did right here is she threw out her bait. She threw out her bait. She put it on a hook and she threw it out into the water to see what PC fish she can gather. That's basically what it boils down to. And something tells me she will grab grab any fish that she can get, no matter how, I guess you can say, appealing or not appealing it may be. Right, Peter Chicago, the bed winch application. This is her audition piece. I think this is the best way to put it. This is her audition piece. That's basically what it is. But that's K Michelle right there. Let me see what y'all talking about in the comment section. And shout out to the 310 people that are in here so far. Again, we are just still at the beginning, y'all. We got a few more to go. Sir Facton said, them white boys will eat anything. They said she's been saying this about white men and doesn't have one, or is he still waiting to to love up on her? Someone else says, I think these women are just angry and venting. There are no white men on that horizon. Miss Renee says she will be lucky like Judy Smith. And so on and so forth. But shout out to everybody that's in here. Again, if you have not done so already, go ahead and hit the like button. If you are new, welcome, and hit that subscribe button. So now we got K Michelle out the way. Now we're going to move on to a male. Of course, if y'all are new to my channel, I do not I'm an equal opportunity offender. So I talk about a little bit of everybody over here. It's not one-sided. And the person we're going to talk about today is Terrell Owens. Now, this is also coming from the Atlanta Black Star, and this article was posted yesterday. And it's ironic that Till Dog 12 wrote that comment that he just did, because he said it sounds like she's trying to one-up Terrell Owens. Why you have to try to spoil it before I even get into it? But basically what Till Dog is saying is actually true. Because as I go through this article, listen to how similar it sounds to the K Michelle one. It sounds eerily similar. Terrell Owens claims he, quote unquote, gravitated toward dating white women because black women teased him, quote unquote, for being dark skinned. Now, let me just point this out right quick. Terrell Owens has actually a few, I don't know how many, maybe someone can tell me a number in the chat, but he has more than one baby mama. And to my knowledge, all of them are black. And I think all of them are like at least his complexion, or maybe a shade lighter. So my question to Terrell Owens is this: what complexion of black women teased you when you were younger? And also it's telling me that Terrell Owens is saying that a black woman is good to put a baby in, not to date, not to marry, but that white woman, that Becky, that Karen, that Heather, that Hannah, he wants to create a legacy with. A lady for 747 say he has 4. So he has 4 baby mamas. I'm assuming 4 children if there is one per woman. And all of them were black. Notice none of them were white, like the women he says that he wants to be with. Maybe that's a telltale sign right there to Terrell Owens that they are not going to just allow you to make them baby mama number 5. But let's go ahead and get into it, because his article actually does have a small video that comes with it, and I'm going to play it because it actually gives his take, because he was talking to Chad Ochocinco about this. Mr. Chris says, is Terrell Owens and Candace Owens related? Not that I know of. I don't think so, though. Former NFL player Terrell Owens recently had an interesting discussion about interracial dating with Chad Ochocinco Johnson on Instagram Live. Owens shared that he was pushed into the arms of white women by black women who rejected him because of his looks. Now, look at this. He said he was pushed into the arms of white women by black women who rejected him because of his looks. Well, I got a question, Terrell Owens. What if that PC woman talked about your looks too? Is she going to push you back into the arms of black women, or is she going to push you into the arms of another group of women? Because that's what I'd like to know. Now, this is a stance I believe that he's been on for years. To my knowledge, even when I think even when he was a child or something like that, I believe his mother or something like that, he dealt with like verbal abuse from his mother. So this kind of thing started in his youth. This is not something that just started. But he's saying it's black women's fault that he's being pushed into the direction of that PC woman. No, Terrell, you are willingly going into the arms of that woman. And how many women is what I like to know. And what did they say? You know what's so crazy? RG3, Robert Griffin III, who used to play for the Redskins, he used that same line. He said that same exact thing that Terrell Owens said. And he ended up marrying a PC woman. I believe they had a child, but then they ended up getting a divorce. And then what ended up happening? He ended up remarrying another PC woman. Stop saying that it was because of someone teasing you or saying something about you. You wanted to go there. No one put a spell on you and made you do it. You wanted, you did it. My first experiences with black women growing up wasn't so good when I started dating white girls. My first experience was when I went to college. I tried to date some black girls. When I was in college, they did not like me. I was skinny. I was scrawny. Wait a minute. You said I was skinny and I was scrawny. I hope that wasn't the insults, because if you're talking about I was skinny, I was scrawny, what does that have to do with your skin complexion? That's just your body type. That's your physical appearance. That has nothing to do with your skin. I hope it was more to it than that. The former 49ers player claimed he used to get teased between high school and college for quote unquote being dark skinned. There was a lot of I don't know who typed this. He says there was a lot of self-esteem issues. I'm being dead honest. So when I got my opportunity, my first experience with a white girl, it was like, okay, it wasn't bad. But T.O. insists that he didn't mean he only gravitated to white women, nor did it deter him from still dating or pursuing black girls. My thing now is because I know there's a stigma that the stereotypical of athletes, to go off and make money and date the opposite color, the opposite race. But for me, where I am, it's not even about color. It's not even about race for me. Then why the hell did you just say that you was gravitating towards white women if it wasn't about race, if it wasn't about color? What is this? You see, he just contradicted himself just that fast. He says, for me, it's about somebody that I have some chemistry with and good energy and I get a good vibe with. That's where I am. Owens believes anyone who claims that looks and appearance don't matter, they are telling themselves a lie. He says, I attempted to date black girls when I was younger. I wasn't as handsome as I am now, he said. Okay, so this is the actual video right here. We're going to play it. I have it sped up. It's 2 minutes and 14 seconds. So let's see what he's talking about.
My experiences with black women growing up wasn't so good. When I started dating white girls, my first experience with white girls was when I went to college. I tried to date some black girls when I was in college. They did not like me. I was skinny. I was strong. Right. I was teased from high school, even college. I got teased for being dark skinned.
Damn, so they teased you, cuz?
Yeah. So there was a lot of self-esteem issues.
Right.
No, I'm being dead honest. So when I got my opportunity, when my first experience with a white girl, like, okay, it wasn't bad, but that wasn't. I just totally gravitated to white girls after that. Right. That wasn't the situation. So again, my experiences with black women growing up wasn't so good. So, but that still didn't deter me from still dating or pursuing black girls. Right. So my thing now is, because I know there's a stigma, the stereotypical of athletes, to go off and date the opposite color, opposite race. But for me now, where I am, it's not even about color. It's not even about race. For me, it's about somebody that I have some chemistry with, good energy, and I get a good vibe with. That's where I am. Like I said, we all want somebody that's attractive. Right. You know what I mean? Aesthetics going to play a big part in it. Anybody says, "Oh, well, I don't care what the person looks like," that's a lie. That's a lie. We all want somebody that we can roll over and wake up to. That, you know what I mean? That looks pleasing to the eye. Everybody's experiences have been different. For me, when I grew up, I tried. I was in my high school. Pretty much is 50. I don't know what percentage black, white, but I lived in a black neighborhood. So at the end of the day, I attempted to date black girls when I was younger. I wasn't as handsome as I am now. I didn't have this beautiful smile as I have now.
Hit puberty.
Right. I was a late bloomer. Yeah. And when I bloomed, boy, did I bloom.
Okay, so that's the whole video right there. And I was looking at the comments as the video was playing, because that's the only time I really get a chance to really see what y'all are saying right there in the comment section. I feel like there might be some holes in his story, but let's continue this article. It says his remarks quickly sparked outrage on social media, with some claiming he's making excuses for dating white women. One person said, why you date white girls? Why you date white girls should never have anything to do with black women. Just say it's your preference and slide. Another person says, boy, just say you tricked your money off on white women. Now that it's gone, you're going to gaslight black women. Someone says he's saying a lot of nothing just to validate his preference. Someone else said he's lying. The one he liked may not have liked him back, but I don't believe not one black girl liked him. One person who believes Owens wrote, white girls will line up to date the awkward black guy that isn't what is considered handsome, fine, or cute. Between 2009 to 2011, the father of four had a reality series called The T.O. Show, which aired for 3 seasons. The show documented his off-the-field success as he navigated finding a new team to play for, moved to Los Angeles to dive into acting, and his relationship with ex-Kari Klinkenborg. Now, we know that last name is definitely PC. Owens was previously married for 3 days to... Wait a minute. Owens was previously married for 3 days to a white woman named Rachel Snyder, which ended in 2015. 3 days? Dang, he beat Kim Kardashian. Remember when she was married to, what's his name? That basketball player. 3 days? Now, I didn't know about this. It says he has also been romantically tied to a few actresses and reality stars, such as Days of Our Lives star Felicia Terrell, Real Chance of Love reality star Kip Force, also known as Blonde Baller, and Candace Cabrera from Flavor of Love. As far as notable black actresses, it's been reported that he's dated Sanaa Lathan, Lisa Leslie, and Vivica A. Fox. Even though the 49-year-old likes himself and many women may like his looks now, the former football star is clear that not all white women like him. What's going on, Tamika? In 2022, Owens took to social media to call out a quote-unquote... I'm glad they brought this up, because that's a point I was going to mention if this article, if it wasn't brought up. Y'all remember last year when, and I talked about it, happened in August of last year, so it was over a year ago, when that PC woman had tried to get him hemmed up and he had went live on his Instagram. Guess who was rallying behind him the most when that was going down? Black people. That included black women. So guess what? Guess what's going to happen now, Terrell Owens? If you manage, and hopefully it doesn't happen, get hemmed up again, you're not going to get the support. I remember doing a video about that when that happened. Exactly, PD Chicago. And a black woman was there. She was across the street. She was telling them the facts so he wouldn't get hemmed up. It was a black woman across that street who was probably old enough to be his mother. Who was basically laying out like, nah, that white woman is lying her ass off, which she was. Thank you, Sid. Chris Humphries is Kim Kardashian's ex. Okay, thank you, because I literally forgot his name. I forgot all about him as a whole. It says he shared a video of the interaction with the white woman who falsely accused him of speeding and running a stop sign, which he disputed. He insists there was no stop sign and that he wasn't speeding. Owens also denied the woman's claim. Then he approached her aggressively, referring to her as Karen. The matter escalated after the Karen made racially charged remarks despite efforts by a police officer to defuse the argument. You're a black man approaching the white woman, she said while sobbing in a high-pitched tone. You put your car in park and you came after me. In disbelief, the retired baller said, here she is crying. There's Karen. I swear to God, I have never been in a situation like this. He later added, I've seen it, but this is firsthand. Perhaps black women made him feel uncomfortable in his past, but now it seems that white women in their tears might have trumped those teasing honey dips from school. And that's the whole article right there. I'm still stuck on the part where it said he was married for 3 days. Now, the crazy part about it is I've seen multiple people more so multiple male divestors or those who align themselves with that, who want to stick it to black women whenever something like this happens. I said that's why they do that tit for tat thing. Is so childish. But I've seen a lot of the quote unquote male divestors or those who align themselves with them talk about this, but none of them, and I mean absolutely none of them, spoke about that 3-day marriage to that PC woman or that interaction he had with that Karen last year. I guess Operation Protect the White Woman doesn't only simply apply to the law. We have a lot of the bed buckins doing and engaging in protecting her too. Because everybody was rallying behind Terrell Owens when that happened. And we was glad that woman actually got some kind of a punishment too. But then to come back with this is like, okay, well, we see, it's like they see where your allegiance is. There you go. So the next time, and hopefully there is not a next time that this does occur, you are on your own. Amira B91 says, I didn't know who married for 3. Yeah, I didn't know either. That's why I said it shocked me. Like that part got me. He said that black women teased him when he was in high school and college, but you was married to a white woman for 3 days. What? Huh? How does that work? Did you? It sounds to me like you didn't even know this woman, or she didn't know you. Y'all just had a fling. That's all that was. That wasn't a marriage. Wasted all that time and that ink. For what? But that takes care of that. So now that we've gone through the 2 stories that some people may or may not have been aware about, let's get into the stories that I'm sure everybody has heard about. Like the next 3 stories I'm going to talk about, I'm sure everyone has heard about. The first one, so like I said, the first ones we talked about was K. Michelle. She's basically trying to audition to get herself a white man. Terrell Owens is saying that black women teased him to the point where he got pushed into the arms of white women. Now we're going to start talking about people who were actually in these relationships and now they're pretty much done. So the first person we're going to talk about is Jodie Turner Smith, who quite honestly, what career does she really have outside of now formally being married to Joshua Jackson? I mean, the first time we heard about her was when she was in that whack Queen and Slim film. And the next time we heard about her was finding out that she was married to Joshua Jackson. And ever since then, it seems like the only way that she was able to make headway in the headlines was to be linked to her now formerly about to be ex-husband. And I kid you not, when I was making the thumbnail for this video and I typed in Jodie Turner Smith, and y'all can do it for yourself if y'all don't believe me, it was nothing but a shrine of pictures of both of them. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, I'm looking for a picture of just her so I can put it on the thumbnail. But there are so many people. I mean, and there's so many posts with both of them on there. I'm like, I didn't type in Jodie Turner Smith and Joshua Jackson. I typed in Jodie Turner Smith. But it's a bunch of pictures on Google Images of both of them together. I had to scroll down like 5 or 6 rows just to find the picture y'all see of her on the thumbnail. Exactly, Cosma. I forgot about that. She proposed to him. That should have told you what direction this relationship was headed. She proposed to him, and I don't think he wanted to get married. She wanted to be married more than he did. They got married. They ended up having a child. But I think one of the most degrading things she did was that picture where she had her backside out standing on that balcony. Remember that picture? She was naked and she was standing on that balcony and she had, like, you could see the top of the crack of her, you know what? But he was standing there in a suit with his arm around her waist. A lot of people clowned her for that, and rightfully so. But now it has come out that Jodie Turner Smith has filed for divorce from Joshua Jackson. Now, she's the one that did the filing, which means she was the one that was having problems with the marriage. Well, I could have told you that from jump. You proposed to him. He wasn't ready for marriage. You were the one that basically, in my honest opinion, was holding this man hostage in this marriage. So let's see what they're talking about on here. And this was posted yesterday as well. Jodie Turner Smith is pulling the plug on her marriage to Joshua Jackson. TMZ has learned she just filed for divorce. The British actress or model cites the boilerplate irreconcilable differences as the reason for the divorce. Now, let me pause right there on them and talk about another couple that just got filed for divorce because of the same reason. Jeezy and Jeannie Mai. Yes, I know I didn't do a video about it, but I'm talking about it right now. I told people I was going to insert some things in here about for people that were not on the thumbnail. I knew that marriage or relationship was doomed from the start. When I have heard that video or that audio clip of her saying that she likes her dark meat on the side, I'm like, Jeezy, I know we aren't the only ones that heard that, because if us regular folk heard this, I know you heard it. But what did he go do? He went ahead and fulfilled his fantasy and decided to not only put a ring on this woman's finger, but take it a step further and get her pregnant and have a child. I'm like, if you didn't see how she was acting in her first marriage and why her husband couldn't wait to get away from her. And again, you had the male divestors rallying behind him, because again, that was another way to stick it to black women that, hey, he's going to be with an Asian woman. A couple years later, he files for divorce for irreconcilable differences. And I knew it was going to happen. I said, I didn't really see it for them from jump. It looked rushed. It looked very performative. So I don't feel bad for him. I'm not throwing a pity party over him for him, or saying, good, you got out. You never should have got in. That's the point. Then what they tried to do was say, well, she's a Western Asian. She's not from the continent of Asia. I said, knock it off. Stop trying to move the goalposts. Y'all should have seen how some of them were acting on here when they found out they were together. If they could have went to where they were and threw a parade, they would have, because they were living vicariously through that relationship that they most likely will never attain. That's why I told y'all the male and female divestor are one and the same, whether they like it or not, whether they want to admit to it or not. Now let's get back to this. According to the docs filed by Disso Queen Laura Wasser, Jodie is asking for joint custody of their 3-year-old daughter, Juno. Jodie wants to take spousal support off the table for both her and Joshua. And there is no prenup in place, which leads me back to another one, because at first I was going to wait until the next story to bring this up, but why not? Let's talk about it now. Halle Berry. Halle Berry. We all know about what went on with Halle Berry. What was it, last month? A couple months ago, I forget. She has to pay child support to one ex and alimony to another ex. Both of them are PC men. And I read the documents. It was stating in so many words that if she makes $2 million or more for a film or anything that she does, her ex that is getting the alimony gets a fraction of that check. Keep in mind, Hallie has to pay her agents, her managers. She has to pay those taxes. She has bills and other expenses. She may own other property that she has to pay on as well. And she has to pay child support. On top of that, alimony. And this alimony lasts until her ex gets with and marries another woman. That's if he decides to remarry. He probably like, you know what? I'm going to take myself off the dating scene. I'm going to stay single forever if I know I'm going to get paid. And the child support, of course, we know that cuts off at 18. Exactly, Rebel. He is never getting remarried. I know about that, Donna. They are in California. And you know those taxes are high as a kite out there. So he's probably just waiting for Hallie to do another role. She's going to probably negotiate to say, you know what, I want to make my payment to be $1.9 million and not a penny more, not a dollar more. 1.99 and not a dollar more. But go back to this. It says Jodie wants to take spousal support off the table for both her and Joshua. So that means that there's no money coming from either one of them. And there is no prenup. Even with this filing of the divorce, she still gave him an out. She's not taking any of his money. Now, I wonder if Joshua was Lamar. There probably would have been a prenup in place. She probably would have filed for spousal support and child support. It says the date of the separation is September 13th. Jodie and Joshua met during his 2018 birthday bash, and their relationship was immediately fast-tracked. They got engaged just months later. Notice another thing, how fast they are in a rush to get married, which is going to be part of what I'm going to talk about in the last story. We got 2 more to go. The two went to the Beverly Hills courthouse to snag a wedding license before most people knew they were even dating. Not that we would care. They went Instagram official 10 days later with a pic of them gazing into each other's eyes during a dinner date. And I'm sure that just warmed the heart of all the divestors all over. They're probably crying a river right now. There were breakup rumors in September 2022 after they unfollowed each other on Instagram, but they attended the Oscars back in March and looked very much like a couple. Well, looks can be deceiving. They're both actors. They're acting. They're performing. The Dawson's Creek star has not responded. And that's her story right there. Cool Spider says she just met that guy. Exactly. She just met him. She just met him. Jekyll said, is Jodie Caribbean? No, it says that she's British. Nisha said Jamaican. So, well, she's British, but you know, there's something probably there from the islands as well. Because 9 times out of because a lot of times when people who are black, who are from Britain, they're not just British. It's something else there as well. It could be from the continent, or it could be from one of those Caribbean islands. Exactly, Star Child. He was white, and that's all that matters. And shout out to Keith Cunningham for the $5 super chat. It says Jodie Turner Smith out here looking like a whole Janet jackass. Is that Terrell Owens lost a whole lot of credibility and Halle Berry done hit the wall. I appreciate the super chat, Keith. So that takes care of Jodie Turner-Smith. Now let's go into another couple that didn't even make it down the aisle. And that is Tamar Braxton and her now former fiance, whose name is Jeremy Robinson. Now, Tamar used to be married to a black man named Vince, who was a huge part of her career. I don't know if anyone watched their show that their reality show that they had, but he was a producer, very well-known producer at that, who helped her get that album off the ground that she wanted to really well. That the one that had that song "Love and War" on it. Many of y'all know exactly what song I'm talking about. But he was a producer. You know, they were married for many years. They had a son or have a son with each other. And then what happened is when Vince started to lose that weight, Tamar couldn't handle it. And they ended up getting a divorce. Okay, I don't know if that was the real reason, but that's what I'm just being petty right now. And she ended up with another guy. She ended up with another dude, a black guy. It was another black guy. It was another dude she was with. And I think they got engaged. And they didn't make it down the aisle. Fast forward to now, she got with this PC guy, got engaged, and guess what? She didn't make it down the aisle again. Crystal said Vince was her second husband. Well, I didn't know what her first husband was, but I knew about Vince. I thought that was her first husband because they were married for a long time. So Crystal, thanks for the correction. Vince was her second husband. But again, like I said, the third guy she was with was a black guy. I think they got engaged, but they didn't make it down the aisle either. Then she gets with this guy. They get engaged, and they don't make it down the aisle either. I'm starting to think that Tamar is the common denominator of her relationships. That's the vibe that I'm getting here. But let's see what they're talking about here. This is on People. It says Tamar Braxton ends engagement to Queen's Court finalist Jeremy J.R. Robinson. Tamar Braxton and her Queen's Court finalist Jeremy J.R. Robinson have ended their engagement. On Monday, Robinson revealed on social media that he and the Braxton Family Values star, age 46, are no longer together after getting engaged on the first season finale of the Peacock reality series, which aired in March. I wonder how long they were dating. Shout out to AB Promotions for the $1.99 super chat. He says, at Torian Rain Reloaded, that was the reason. I appreciate the super chat. It says on Monday, I'm sorry, I read that part already. So many questions, so many assumptions. I want to answer all that I can with respect. He wrote in a statement on his Instagram story. Yes, Tamar and I are no longer together. I ended the relationship. He ended the relationship, not her. He said, I ended the relationship to focus on getting back to positive energy and being a better person. Now that says a lot. He says, I ended the relationship to focus on getting back to positive energy and being a better person, which tells me she was running him probably driving him crazy in that relationship. He said, I need to focus on positive energy and being a better person. Like I said, that tells me that she was probably driving him nuts in this relationship. The attorney refused to divulge details of the split, saying what happened and why that's our private place. And this is a post that he made on Instagram. He says, so many questions, so many assumptions. I want to answer all that I can with respect. Yes, Tamar and I are no longer together. I ended the relationship. I already read that part. He says, what happened and why? That's our private place. No, I never cheated. No, I wasn't there when she was at her mother's place when her car was burglarized. No, I never cared about fame. Who reveals their most embarrassing moments in their life to find fame? I have always represented famous people, and the truth is I was in an amazing place financially and mentally. I turned down Queen's Court several times before I gave in. Ultimately, I fell in love and it did not end how I wanted it. So I want to heal. Tamar and I will always be friends and family for life. Thanks for respecting our privacy. What I'm getting from that, again, is like I said earlier, that woman was driving him crazy in that relationship. That's pretty much, to me, what it all boils down to. Let's see what else they got on here. It says a source later told People that the split was Braxton's decision. There's been a lot of drama, but the hope is that the nail isn't all the way in the coffin for them. It says she needs time, the source says. So now they're saying that she's the one that decided to do the split. So it's a lot of he said, she said going on here. Is that the ball is in her court. She's in a good mental state and has a great village around her and supporting her through this. Braxton's rep did not immediately return People's request for comment. Braxton and Robinson got engaged in the first season finale of Peacock's Queen's Court, which also saw Evelyn Lozada and Nivea in finding their perfect match. I knew I was different than my siblings, she said to Robinson on the show. I prayed for somebody to understand me and not look at me and my flaws and just accept me for who I am. And then I met you. And then I saw every single that I prayed for as a child. Braxton's engagement even took her sister Tony by surprise. She called me and said, Tony, I'm engaged. Tony said on Sherry in May before sharing her initial reaction. To who? To be what? To do what? You're engaged to do what? And she said, no, I got a guy. You're going to love him. Tony continued saying JR is her guy. And I was like, can I see a picture? And she was like, no, I'm going to surprise you. Braxton shares son Logan with ex-husband Vincent Herbert, while Robinson has 5 kids from past relationships. Not a past relationship, but past relationships with an S. Revealing how her child feels about her dating at the time, Braxton said, I think ultimately our kids wants to see us happy. I definitely want to have a husband and hope that he has kids so we can have a blended family, she continued. I think that he's attracted to that as well. Well, I think it's safe to say, oh, that just came tumbling down. Like I said, that statement that I read, that was from months back. Rebel R says, was this a ran through dating show? That's what it sounds like to me. I don't think I've heard of this show, but that's what it sounds like to me. To Black Light said, what a wonderful happy ending. Y'all are petty in this damn chat. But now we're going to go ahead and get down to the last story. Now, the last story is the darker tale of all of these stories that I told you. Like I said in the beginning of the stream, we was going to start off light and then it was going to get heavy. It was going to get dark. So now we're about to get into the dark story. And for those of you, if you watch The Black Authority, you have seen this story right here that I'm about to talk about, involving this woman by the name of Jenean Chapman, who was deleted by what we believe to be her husband recently. She was the former aide to the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, and it says that her husband faces murder charges. So let's go ahead and get into this. A former aide to the British royal family was murdered in Texas Monday, and her husband was arrested after years of what her family called a quote-unquote rocky and toxic relationship. Her own family said that this relationship was horrible. Jenean Chapman was found dead in her downtown Dallas apartment around 1:15 p.m. after police were called for a wellness check, the department said. I am shocked and saddened to learn that Jenean Chapman, who worked with me as my personal assistant for many years ago, has been murdered in Dallas at just age 46. Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York and former wife of disgraced Prince Andrew, wrote on Instagram. Jenean was loyal, hardworking, beautiful, and fun, and my heart breaks for her family and friends. I heard from her just a couple of months ago, and she seemed happy. Seemed. Looks can be deceiving. Police are tight-lipped about the details of Chapman's murder. Her death was initially ruled as unexplained until it was reclassified as a homicide the following day. James Patrick, age 48, was identified as a suspect the same day, but he was already 200 miles away in Austin. That just screams to me that he did it. He fled, or he was trying to flee. He was taken into custody by the University of Texas police and shipped back to Dallas, and that's a picture of her in case y'all didn't know what she looked like. Loved ones identified Patrick as Chapman's husband, adding that the relationship had been abusive leading up to the killing. I don't know if this article is going to mention it or not, but I actually saw in another article where even neighbors were complaining about the noise that would come from their apartment, like on a weekly basis. Like they would be having shouting matches. They would hear thuds up against the wall, all types of stuff. The past couple of days have been absolutely the worst days of my life. My sister was recently a victim of physical abuse, and her life was brutally taken away from her. She has so much work. She has so much to look forward to and impacted so many people in her life. Her sister, Crystal Marshall, said in a post peppered with domestic violence hashtags. Even though her presence is no longer with us, her light will continue to shine in our hearts and fond memories we have of her. I love and miss you dearly, sis, and wish you weren't taken away from us so soon. Chapman. Now this is the part right here that when TBA got to it in his broadcast that really got me by surprise. Chapman's not surprised, but not surprised. Chapman's family barely knew Patrick, but recognized that the couple's relationship was harmful. Now, they said they didn't even know this dude. Her own family said they did not know him. They said they barely knew him. This also kind of reminds me of the story about that woman. I forgot what state it was in. The one that she was the black woman that was being the side piece to that white cop. And she was saying all types of nasty, negative things about black people on her Facebook. And then I guess the wife of the cop got wind of it, who was a white woman. And she probably whispered something in her husband's ear, and her husband obliged, and he took her out. And when that occurred, the family was like saying, send up prayers for our loved one. And black people was like, no, we're not sending up no prayers for this woman, because she was very off code. And she was saying a bunch of nasty remarks about black people on her Facebook page. You can't tell me you didn't see what she was saying. It was a very public page, which I'm sure many of you were friends with her on Facebook at the time when she wrote it. Yep, Dominique Clayton. Thank you. I couldn't remember her name. Dominique Clayton. That was her name. The pair had known one another for 6 years, but had only been married for 2 months. 2 months, y'all. Only 2 months. It says 3 months after they moved to Dallas, so Chapman could embark on a new job. The most we can say is that the relationship was toxic. Sister Nicole Chapman told BNC Dallas Fort Worth. Now, that's the crazy part. They only knew each other for 2 months. The family barely knew who he was, but the only thing they could gather from him or that relationship is that it was toxic. Nothing positive, nothing good came out of it. It was just toxic and harmful and abusive. We were shocked because before that, it was an on and off relationship. It was rocky. We were aware of that. She broke the news to our mother about the marriage. And of course, our mother told us, and yeah, we definitely didn't see that coming. And no, there was no wedding. So they probably went to the courthouse. So we weren't involved. That's crazy. She didn't even involve her own family in her marriage, in her wedding. They said there was no wedding. So again, they probably went to the courthouse to the justice of peace and got married there. Investigators told the family that Chapman's body may have been in the apartment for several days. Patrick has been charged with murder and is being held on a $100,000 bond and has an out-of-county felony charge. And by the way, y'all, since they didn't want to act like they didn't know who this guy was, and so we can see what he looks like, that's him right there. That is a picture of Jenean Chapman and her, as her sister called it, her toxic husband. The fact that you even have to dig to even pull this up, because a lot of the articles that are written don't have his picture in it. It's amazing they have his name and his age, but they don't put his picture there. It was another story that I came across recently as well that somebody sent to me. And it wasn't dealing with another, it was dealing with another black woman and how I'm just going to give the short story of it. She one day or one night, whenever the time of the day was, got into an Uber, and she said she fell in love with her Uber driver without even seeing his face. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, what is going on here? I'm gonna see if I can pull. I don't know if I can pull that article up, but trust me, it's an actual story. And of course, the person it turns out to be was a PC man. Fast forward to now, they have a whole child. I kid you not. I'm gonna see if I can try to find the article because I know someone tagged me in it. Hold on, y'all. Let me see if I can find it because I know somebody tagged me in it. Yeah, Renee, it is very disturbing. Like it doesn't take, it shows you it doesn't, for them, it doesn't take much. Meanwhile, when it comes to black men, they got to jump through all kinds of hoops and hurdles, do triathlons and all types of stuff just to even get a phone number. Hold on, I'm trying to see if I can find it. I get tagged in so much stuff that, you know, sometimes I'll forget to post or to have it on hand. I should have bookmarked it. But trust me on that when I say that this was an actual story. I'm just trying to see if I can find it so I can show y'all, because I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was like, that's all it took was, like, you know, just you hopping in their Uber. If I can't find it, y'all gonna have to take my word for it, because I cannot find it. I don't know why I didn't bookmark that article, so I could have showed y'all, to just show you how ridiculous this actually is. But anyway, y'all, if I find it, I'll post it in the community tab and y'all can go and read it for yourselves. But yeah, this is pretty much it, y'all. Like I said, on both sides of the spectrum, they, in my opinion, are like losing on both sides. At this point, they might as well just click up with each other. They might as well just click up with each other because they basically have the same kind of childish mindset, in my honest opinion, when it all boils down to it. Exactly, KC. That is low bar at its finest, at its highest. But yeah, that's pretty much going to conclude this stream. I wish I could have found that last article. Like I said, if I do come across it, I'll post it in the community tab and y'all can see it for yourself. But shout out to everybody that came through. Shout out to all the people that contributed to the super chat. Shout out to the 400 plus people. It was almost 450 people in here. Like, shout out to y'all, like in the middle of, well, on a Tuesday at this time. But shout out to y'all for coming through. We'll be back on here tomorrow. Of course, the video will be uploaded at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Y'all will see the premiere window maybe in the next couple of hours. So y'all will see what I'm going to be talking about. It's going to be another South of the Bordarian story. It's going to be another one of those. I told y'all going to be getting a lot of these going forward. It's a lot of content to come from this. So be on the lookout for that. Shout out to all the channel members. Shout out to all the people on Patreon. If you are on Patreon, I uploaded a Patreon exclusive commentary over there. So if you haven't done so already, make sure to go and check that out. Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we will be back here tomorrow. Be safe and be one.